Hi everyone, welcome to Module 1. And here is our land acknowledgement for Niagara University. So everyone, welcome to Module 1. This module is dedicated to understanding self-regulated learning theories. The module is from January 26th to February 15th. It's a 3-week module because there is a fair number of readings. And what I suggest you do is make yourself a reading schedule so that over the next 3 weeks you can skim read through the articles and then find the bits and pieces that you want to go back and review. So that's how my suggestion would be to approach it, because like I said, there's a lot of readings and this is to help build your background into self-regulated learning. This is a list of the 8 readings for Module 1. Again, take your time, go through them, skim read first, and then go back for the details. As you read each article, consider these questions as they are connected to the student learning outcomes. As you understand learning and self-regulated learning, the social cognitive theory perspective, that's important, a distinction in self-regulated learning, and your role as a teacher, what you know about it, what's something you've unlearned, some counter arguments to self-regulated learning approaches, and also being able to include Indigenous worldviews and co-collaborative perspectives, so non-agency of self-regulated represented learning. So as you're watching these 3 videos, consider the questions of how do you understand learning and how do you understand self-regulated learning? What is it? And I made a suggestion here that as you're completing it, make a T-chart or a KWL chart with the questions and how you go about what you've learned from after what you've learned as you go through these readings. Okay, so what I've done to help sort of conceptually map out the readings is color-coded each of these student learning outcomes for the course with the colors of the readings or the resources that are the pink dedicated to that student learning outcome. Then as you read through, you'll understand each of the student learning outcomes, and you can take notes for yourself on what you're learning about each of these outcomes. So at the end of this module, Module 1, February 15th, you will be submitting your philosophy, self-regulated learning philosophy assignment. And you will use what you're learning in each of these student learning outcomes to put together your philosophy, which is a way of working smart about going towards an assignment, but it's also a scaffolding technique as well, because as you move along in the course and the readings, you're actually learning about what you think about self-regulated learning and building on that in order to form a philosophy of self-regulated learning. As well, within that philosophy, there's a strong foundation of what you believe learning to be. So again, the learning outcomes are coordinated with the colors, which are coordinated with the student learning outcomes. So you see here the related readings to this particular student learning objective, and then the questions. So you'll see how all of the next few slides are organized in this way. So this really helps you cognitively not have to put it together in your head. It's kind of laid out for you a little bit better. So again, as you're reading the resources, the required resources, think about the questions, make some notes for yourself, and then when you come back to do the assignment, it'll be much easier for you to formulate what you know, what you've learned, and put it together. And this is the next student learning objective. And your questions are, what are the counter arguments, concerns to SRL? So this reading is a little heavy duty, and it may seem to surprise you a little bit, which is the intent of it, to give you an alternate perspective, or let's say a counterpoint to some of the more commonly accepted theories about self-regulated learning. So I put in some thinking quotes from the reading as well to kind of probe your thinking even a little bit more. So enjoy this one and really give yourself some time to let it soak in a little bit what Vassallo is saying, okay? So this student learning objective really is focused on the Indigenous world views and how we can bring Indigenous ways of thinking and knowing together with self-regulated learning. So this will be one that will kind of give you a right angle thinking. So again, enjoy this reading and soak it all in. And the final student learning objective deals with the impacts of informing self-regulated learning approaches within the classroom. And I'm sure you've already in your human development class have heard of Bandura and his theories of motivation and how it all works. So this is obviously directly and probably dependent on self-regulated learning is aspects of motivation and the motivation to learn, etc. So this is, again, a small portion of what's out there in the field, but it should give you some really good things to think about and a solid foundation of motivation and its connection to self-regulated learning. As an overall reflection, think about something that you've unlearned about self-regulated learning. And one of the key things that I keep saying is the difference between self-regulation and self-regulated learning. So that might be one of your key points that you've unlearned, is understanding some of the differences, even within your own thinking and the narrative that you use, the words that you use, and how the words that you use and what they represent to you. So that could be one thing, but give some thought about what you're unlearned. If you're not sure what that means, just do a quick Google search about learning and unlearning, and then see if you can figure out what both mean. So the activity for Module 1 is to answer these questions that are here based on the reading, and post that as a part of your discussion post in the discussion area under Module 1, and then respond to one other peer by asking a question about their response. So you don't need to go into a lot of detail, and it's okay to do point form in your own discussion post. And so it's more about the content and making connections between what you've read, what you're thinking, and what you've learned. So thanks everyone, and I hope you enjoy this module and that you the readings really help you increase your knowledge about self-regulated learning and from a theoretical point of view, as well as some practical tidbits as well, because it's really hard to separate the practice and the theories apart in self-regulated learning. As well, as you know, there are quite a few readings in this module, so one note that I did make is to make timetable for yourself so that you have given yourself plenty of time and you don't feel like you're being rushed to read through these resources, you know, in any kind of speeded time, because you really need some time to let them sink in. So enjoy, and if you have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me via email, and I hope you enjoy Module 1. Bye for now.